Lori Lightfoot is scheduled to speak any moment now about that off-duty officer who's being treated after he was shot at a stoplight.
Yeah, it happened earlier today there. We see them getting ready for that press conference. Let's take a minute and go live as Mayor Lightfoot arrives to give a few comments.
One of the trauma surgeons here.
We're hearing from the doctors.
University
Take a listen.
of Chicago. Can I answer any questions, or do you want me to just provide an update?
Why don't you just provide?
Yeah, so our patient sustained what we saw as a single gunshot wound to the abdomen. We took him emergently to the operating room, and we found multiple small bowel enterotomies and a couple colotomies, so injuries to the small and large bowel. We repaired all of them, and he remained stable throughout the entire case, and he's currently doing well.
Are these life-threatening injuries?
Why don't we, I think the soup is going to talk, and then I'll talk, and then we can take some questions.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Sue.
Just a brief update. We're continuing the investigation. No new information that we want to release at this point, but I just got to share just one part of this story that's really become very heartwarming. Number one, the officers came out of surgery, and the doctor just gave you the update and stable. But number two, there were three female cops, three women officers who were the first officers to arrive on the scene. One of the officers worked with the off-duty officer who was wounded by the gunfire. They immediately loaded him up in their car and transported him to the hospital. And when the family arrived here and learned of what happened, just the hugs and tears that the family shared, the mother, grandmother, and the family shared with these three heroic women who, in my opinion, without their intervention, quick thinking to get him transported as quickly as possible, got him into surgery, likely saved his life. It just was the most heartwarming thing that we've heard today, with him coming out of surgery and stable. With that, as soon as we have more investigation that we can share of the investigation we can share with you, we will release that either through a statement or another press release. Thank you, Mayor.
So let me just pick up where the superintendent left off. We have to give incredible praise to the three female officers who responded immediately on the scene, recognized the off-duty officer as someone that one of the three had worked with, and then their quick thinking brought him here into, I think, one of the best trauma centers, if not in the country, certainly in our area. So I think it underscores the importance of having a level 1 trauma center here on the south side of Chicago. Unfortunately, this event reminds us of the dangers that our officers face every single day, whether on or off duty. And we just have to say a prayer for this officer and his family. The superintendent and I have been able to spend a little time with his mother, his grandmother, and other family members who are all gathered here in the hospital, and are grateful for the news about how he came through the surgery and what his long-term prognosis is. But it goes without saying that we will spare no expense to bring those who were responsible to justice. And that's what the family expects, and that's certainly what they deserve. But as the superintendent said, when there are more investigative leads that can be shared, they will be shared with members of the public. We're happy to take your questions at this time.
Please let us know the questions.
Can you tell us what condition?
Can you identify yourself and then ask the question?
Can you please just describe his condition? Is he serious, critical, fair? I know stable, but that's not really a condition.
He sustained potentially life-threatening injuries, but he is in fair condition, I would say.
And Dr. Ralph, Suzanne Lemieux from CBS News. In light of what the superintendent and the mayor just shared with us, could you tell us in terms of the injury and the severity? You said multiple bowel injuries, truly life-threatening. Time was of the essence here with the quick thinking of these three officers that are in this situation.
So when a bullet enters the abdomen, we don't know until we're in there exactly what it hit. So for that reason, time is always of the essence.
Other questions?
Superintendent, are you at this point allowed or able to identify him yet, or give us any more about him and what he does?
We identified him as an officer who works in the 4th District. The family has asked that we not give his name, and we're going to respect the wishes of the family.
Do you think that this was a targeted attack?
We'll release more of our investigation as soon as we're able to. At this point, we're just not able to release more of the investigation. It's ongoing.
Kate Cogier from ADC 7. Superintendent, were you able to talk to him? Can you tell us a little bit about what he might have said? You mentioned earlier that he was alert at the time when he was taken to the hospital, just so we can know a little bit more.
Just a little bit more about him. You know, he's well liked. It's been an outpouring of officers. We really had to put the stop sign up because officers just kept coming, barging their way into the family. I mean, it's truly a blue family extension of his immediate family, but he's well liked, hardworking, and we're just grateful for this hospital, the doctor, and the things that they've done to bring him to this point. So without any further comments, we want to try to respect the family's privacy concerns.
All right, let's do 2 more.
Question for Mayor Lightfoot. So the Chicago Police Department has obviously gone through a lot over the last month, just with the 2 suicides of the officers and then 2 officers shot within 24 hours. What's just your message to officers at this time that are going through this hard time?
Well, the reality is officers have been going through a hard time for quite a long time. I think this is one of the most difficult times to be a police officer, probably in the history of policing in this country, and we can't ever forget that. You know, we obviously are committed to reform and accountability, but we can't lose sight of the human beings who do this job every day. Extraordinarily difficult job. They run to danger. They are seeing people on their worst day and are themselves experiencing a significant amount of trauma. That's why the superintendent and I join in this, are committed to making sure that we provide resources to support our officers, particularly through officer wellness, providing them with outlets for the trauma that they experience every day. That is, I think, what we owe to them, given the sacrifices that they face every day. Look, over this last year, our entire city has shouldered a significant burden. COVID-19 has exposed, I think, a wide array of trauma and stress, and people are suffering. There's no question. And police officers are experiencing the same kinds of, if not exacerbated traumas, given the nature of the job that they do. And so we have to make sure that we are listening, that we're providing with resources and support, and do a better job of uplifting their wellness, because that has an effect on their ability to effectively do their job on the street. So we want to make sure they're supported, because they have a job that is critically important to the health and well-being of our entire city.
All right, last one.
Doctor, can you say if he's out of the woods, are you still concerned that there may be some motion on the road?
I can say that he's doing as best as can be expected, and he's doing well. There are always potential complications that arise, and so we'll, of course, be very diligent about watching for those, but I would say he's doing well.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, there is your update on that 32-year-old off-duty Chicago police officer who